Parents who knock on their kids' doors and then immediately open it anyway. What's your thought process? This reminds me why I moved into a 5th floor apartment with no elevator. My mother hates taking a lot of stairs, medical problem, and she would be in my apartment every day if it weren't for the stairs. I love my mother, but she has zero sense for privacy. It's over, mother, I have the high ground. Walked in on my kid jerking off once, never again. To his credit, he took it like a champ. Dude, you're supposed to knock. He's asserting dominance. I respect that. I had a bed platform for a while, and it got very squeaky. I was cleaning one day, reaching to my left, tossing on my right, the whole time squeaking the bed. My mom didn't knock and immediately open. She straight up bust through the door as quick as she could, having approached it with stealth, whereas any other time she would drag her feet through the hall like a sloth. What it did accomplish is it almost gave me a heart attack. I jumped nearly half a foot. It was that abrupt. Needless to say, I haven't been able to stop wondering what my mother was hoping to see. I can't even look at her without thinking she's some kind of a creep. You hear your son's bed squeaking, so you sneak up and bust through the door. Why? To catch you and shame you. My son's doctor told me to start knocking on my son's door and waiting until he responds "come in" at his 10-year-old checkup. I hadn't really thought of it before, but I made sure to do just that. Only time I come in is if I've knocked multiple times, and I figure he is asleep. He will fall asleep with his glasses and TV on, so I come in to take care of that. Good, my mom has opened my door without me giving her permission since I was like 9. It gave me quick reflexes, I guess though. Don't ever make your kid drastically try to find something to cover up with though. It's not a good experience. I have a bolt lock on the inside of my door for this sort of situation after I'd be getting dressed as a teen and people would just wander in despite me putting a do not disturb sign on the door. Knock knock, don't come in, I'm getting dressed, opens door anyway. Happened so often in my teenage years. I always assumed the knock meant put your dong away, I'm coming in. And as a former teenager, I was always ready to put my dong away at the slightest threatening noise. Those footsteps are getting awfully loud. I had to move back in with my folks after splitting from my wife. My mom tried to pull that crap on me, but I was smart and the door was always locked. So instead I would get, the door's locked, yeah, no crap. Why are you trying to barge in here? I could be naked with a hairbrush up my butt for all you know. My mom barged in once while I was jerking off and it was to me till my friend died. Well, that escalated quickly. Very modern family thing here. My parents never knock, so I usually lock it so they can't open and catch me doing something wrong. But that habit of never knocking kind of instilled in my brain, so I never knocked as a kid either. Saw some crap when I walked into brother's room once. Also know that every time my parents do lock the door, they're doing the deed. Therefore, teach kids to knock and wait until you open. Do the same for them. Don't waltz in. Don't barge in, because they'll do that to you too. Learn from me. Bonus points for just saying knock. Knock at the same moment as opening the door. My mum taps her nails on the wood of the door as she opens it. Just thinking about the sound makes my hackles rise. My mom did and still does that when I go back home to visit once a year. I'm 30 BTW. Tock tock tock, can I come in? Opens the door. Sometimes I'll open my eyes to her grabbing empty water bottles out of my room. Oh sorry, either you were sleeping. Yes Pauline, I was sleeping until you decided to come in at 7 AM on my vacation time for no reason. The worst is that my grandma is nothing like that. Only her. No respect for privacy or sleep. You have 2 seconds to put your dong away and close that incognito window. I'm in my 30s. My mom lets me know she decided to come over by pressing her face up to the windows, sometimes from the backyard. Knocking. Parents knock. My mom took away my doorknob because I shut the door to change my insulin pump while she was yelling at me for not having my college apps done 2 months early. Just before I left home, my mom and I got in an argument about me sleeping all day, as I worked night shift at the time. I went in my room and locked the door, which was apparently a no-no at 19. She took the doorknob off, so I went and bought one with a key. One day, they are gonna find why we are always staring at our wallpaper. Rookie move. Always keep another browser window opens in the background. Oh boy, I can't wait to leave the room without closing the door on my way out. I finally got the courage to call my mom out on that after 2 years of living on my own. My mom hits me with "because me and your dad knew it bothered the crap out of you." I can't imagine. My parents would knock on the door and wouldn't come in until I opened the door for them. Really helped feel like I had some personal space in a very crowded house. They sound like great parents. Also, why do they leave the door a little bit open when they finally leave? Why? My mother walked in on me using an electric bikini trimmer once. I had one leg propped up on the edge of the tub and was leaning back against the wall with my pelvis tilted upwards. So here I am taming the wild bush, and boom, my mother throws open the door and then acts shocked at what I'm doing. She then later told me that any man that wanted a woman with shaved pubic hair was a pedophile. BC only children do not have pubic hair. I was like, WTF ma, I shave because the hair itches me and I don't like it. I love how parents always assume that a young woman shaving anything has everything to do with having physical relationships. My mom got pee that I started shaving due to swimming and summer activities. Maybe you don't have any issue showing off your bush and furry legs at the pool, but I do. I knock on my daughter's doors and then if they don't answer or say hang on a minute or whatever, I'll leave. My youngest daughter says I'm the only parent she's ever heard of who does this. She's been shopping around. When I was 11 or so, I knocked on my parents' door to have them help me open something and they didn't answer, so then let myself in. They were making love. So I'll never do that again. I also don't just walk into people's houses even if they tell me to. I wait for them to open the door for me. When I was 8, I had a friend down the street call and ask me to come over. He told me just to walk in. I do and happen to see his dad walking around completely naked. So needless to say, I'm pretty scarred for life. You guys had doors? I don't have a parental answer, but man did my parents learn quickly. My dad would always say, hey you and serious girlfriend can come watch TV upstairs with us if you want. Nada cool. And usually it was just because what high school couple loves hanging out with their parents? We just didn't wanna spend our time hanging out with them. But obviously there were some more private reasons too. So one night before we had time to react, my dad knocked and threw open the door and looked straight into my butthole with the way the bed was positioned at that time. Honestly, glad that traumatic experience happened to him. I've never had a reason in anyone's house for any reason to throw open a closed door. Only excuses if a bathroom door got closed, and then you slowly open going hello to double check. Straight into my butthole mayo. My boyfriend's mom did this. Ended up walking into us doing the deed. She now waits. I know last time I went into Guna Kitten's room just after he showered. He was naked and I yelled at him for being naked in his own bedroom, but maybe this time he'll have figured out how to get dressed in 20 seconds. My mother, probably. I like to air dry. Woman, leave me alone. My mom did this to us every day growing up. I have 6 siblings and my god, she managed to pee all of us off every single day with this crap. High school was the worst. I don't need you to remind me 6 times in 30 minutes to wake up. She still does this to my granddad who lives with them because he can't hear you. Just go in. My granddad will occasionally put a chair in front of his door so that she walks into the door when it suddenly stops, but she still doesn't learn her lesson. I could see your granddad smiling when he hears the knob turn, followed by a small thud as the door hits the chair, then a louder thud as she runs into the door. Lol. It's the 0.5 second of minimize that web page warning time. Never has it ever been long enough as well. My mother-in-law popped the bedroom door open the first time I stayed at their house. I was 25 and he was 27. My now husband and I weren't even going to be sleeping in the same room. We were talking privately and she opened the door because she didn't want us having relations in her house. For frick's sake. Switch flipped after we got married. She gave us a gift bag that included condoms for our wedding night. What the frick, woman? My mum used to do this, followed by rooting through my phone, computer, and school bag. Created a lot of distrust that ended up with me leaving the house at 14 and not coming back till I was 17, when I found out my father was worse. My dad used to do this all the time, until one day I stopped him and told him, look, you're free to barge in whenever you want to, but someday you're gonna come in and I'll be dong in hand. He laughed. I laughed. He knocks and waits now. My mum did this to me with my ex. We were under the covers with his dong up my butt. Had an entire conversation like that. His mum did this to us, but I was copying doggy style. There was no conversation that time. Mostly screaming. I think your ex is the top comment. Not a parent, but I never had a door to my room. The excuse was when they bought the house when I was 2, the door wasn't attached, so for 19 years, they never thought to install one. I'm sitting in my room now, age 21, still no door. The truth is my mother doesn't want me to have privacy. She gets mad when I ask about the door. Gone through my personal messages with friends on my computer when I went to the bathroom, yells at me when I lock the door to the bathroom when I'm peeing, even though she'll barge in if I don't. Has pulled back the shower curtain because I've been in there a long time and wanted to know what I was doing instead of, using her words to either ask why I was taking so long or just say that I was taking too long. Like a sane person. Yeah, my mother is awful. Luckily my parents are getting divorced so she doesn't live here anymore. But my assumption is the parent doesn't care about the child's privacy. That they're entitled to know what they're doing all the time, but they don't want to make it seem like that's what's going on. So they knock first to be polite. I know many people who do this and aren't parents, and it's because they don't think about the person's privacy, just whatever they need in the moment. I think this applies to young kids too, but they don't know better and don't understand the importance of other people's privacy. This exactly. It sends the message that you have no rights or that your feelings don't matter because simply by being born to them, your parents have almost control and authority over your life and every move. It creates a total lack of trust and issues with privacy and boundaries. Not me but my mom. Well, she says she wants privacy, but what I want is more important. She took the lock off of my bathroom door because I was closing it to shower and she wanted me to leave it open. I'll be moving out ASAP. My mother never lets me close the door to my room. I'm in college, and I'm home on break. I'm used to staying up until 3 in the morning, so I was up just watching Netflix, and at 3 in the morning, she got up because my door was closed, and opened it. Nice woman. Does the most ridiculous crap sometimes. My mum used to do this until one day, I didn't close the pee, I didn't put my dong away. I just stared at her and said a simple yes. She never did it again. The real power move. Man, my mom doesn't even let me close my door. With a username like that, I am not surprised. Imagine having the type of parent who don't even knock, just walk in. I could be besting the crap out of my dong and they'd just walk in. I got very good at hearing footsteps of intent from quite a distance. Plenty of time for me and whoever else to get our clothes back on. This happened to me when I was about to mount my GF in her bedroom. There was a knock, so we sprung to action and she was pulling her school skirt down and I was rolling off the bed to hastily get back into my jeans. But her mum opened the door approx 1 sec after knocking and caught me running like heck, naked, with a bouncing boner, trying to make it behind the door. But our eyes met, so I know she saw me. I stood behind the door and she immediately closed the door again when it clicked what was happening. I'm giving you time to put your dong away, but not hide the pee. A masturbator can do both at the same time. It gets even worse when your parents don't knock. My mum used to do this to me as a teenager, and then when my so and I moved into their place to save up some money, she still did this. It not only irritated me, but my so as well. We would come home and she would have cleaned the entire room. I repeatedly asked her to stop entering the room when we were not there, as I found it not only to be a breach of my own privacy, but my so's as well. I finally had enough one day and yelled at her when she walked in on me while I was dressing. Her reaction was to say, "Well, it's my house," and then stomp away like a child. I love my mum, but for frick's sakes. As long as you're under my roof, I can knock and open any doors I want. Hey, I see you grew up in the same house as I did. Notice I made the distinction of the house and not my house. It was made very clear to me, often, that it wasn't mine. In fact, most of the time I barely felt welcome. I knock and ask for permission to come in because I'm not a giant pile of buttholes. I'm respecting your privacy by knocking but asserting my authority as your parent by coming in anyway. You're not supposed to be on those kinds of websites. I remember one time when I was 21 I had my girlfriend over and we were freaking. My mum knocked on the door. I responded that we're busy. She knocked again so I called out louder, "Mum, we are making love." "Nope, not enough." She opens the door and sticks her head in. Sees that we are under the covers and then decides to waltz and sit on the end of the bed and talk to us about some mundane crap. All the while, I'm still inside my girlfriend, in a state of shock. Not exactly 100% relevant but was reminded of it and wanted to share. You have been visited by the romantic doggo. Comment love is magic so you never fall in the friend zone. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.